Hey guys, Rex here, and boy do I have something very awesome for you today. I have managed to make Elven swords in vanilla Minecraft, and don't worry, this is actually good. It works just like the swords in the movies and in the books. But if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Elven swords, I'm referring to the Middle-earth universe in the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit series by Tolkien. And in that series, the elven swords, the swords that are made by the elves in a certain time period or whatever, will actually glow. It's just sort of a normal sword, but when they get close to an orc, they will glow blue. Now, I have recreated this in Minecraft, and it works exactly like how it's supposed to. So you'll notice I have a sword in my inventory. It's called the Glamdring, and that's the name of the sword that Gandalf uses in the Lord of the Rings movies and in the Hobbit movies. I'm just saying movies here because I haven't really read the books, but anyways, so these command blocks just summon the different mobs in here. I've made it only work with undead mobs. Now you can make it work with any mob that you'd like, or any entity that you'd like, but right now I've only made it work with undead mobs. So you'll notice if I put it here, it will glow, because now we have a zombie in our proximity here. But when we kill the zombie, it will stop glowing. Same goes for a skeleton. There. And you'll notice what's really cool about this is obviously it's replacing the item here, but what's cool is that it doesn't actually just give me a new item and always put it in the first slot. It doesn't matter what slot I have it in. Let's try it here with the zombie pigmen. It will still work properly. Alright, so I can move it around. It will still work properly. Here we've got a wither skeleton, and the last undead mob here, we have a wither boss. It works with a wither boss too, and this is going to take a while to kill, so just give me 1 second here. Okay, so how does this work? These are all the command blocks here that are needed to make this work, and it may seem like a lot, but that's because a lot of them are just the same thing with for a different slot ID in the hotbar. Now, I'm going to show you the scoreboard objectives here. We've got three objectives. We have Sword Glow, we have Monster Proximity, and we have Glamdring Slot. Now, Glamdring Slot is just the slot that we have our sword in. So I'm going to put that in the sidebar here, like this. And then you'll notice that it's 0 because it's in slot 0. It'll be slot 1, 3, 8, whatever, right? And then it's set to -1 if we don't have it in our inventory. Now, next we have Monster Proximity, which is basically 0 or 1, depending on whether or not there's a undead mob in a 16-block radius of us. And then we have Sword Glow, which is the last one. And here, that is an objective that we use to give the swords to the player, and we use it in such a way so that we don't have to spam give the swords to the player, because if we have a command block that's spam giving you an unenchanted sword or spam giving you an enchanted sword, then that would be bad. It just glitchiness ensues, so that is not what we want to do. So the command blocks are divided into 4 sections here. We've got this section here, which controls like the logic and stuff, and then we've got this row here and this row here, which are responsible for giving us the new Glamdring items, the enchanted or non-enchanted one. And then this row here is responsible for actually just setting our Glamdring slot objective. So let's start with that one. So first we are going to be setting our Glamdring slot to -1 if it's at least 0. So -1 means we don't have it in our hotbar, and 0 means it is in our hotbar. So if there was 1 at the end of the last sort of cycle, it's going to set it to -1. And then next, we have a bunch of command blocks here that set it to 0 if in their inventory they have an iron sword called Glamdring in slot 0. Now, these ones here are exactly the same as this one, except they just have a different slot and a different score. So you'll see this one sets it to 1, if they have it in slot 1. And for this I actually used my new filter that I made, and I'll put a link to that video in the description. It is a really cool filter that essentially takes a command block and it will, you put a placeholder in where you want to put the different numbers, and then you run the filter and it will generate a bunch of command blocks, each with a different number in a set range, and it is very, very useful for stuff like this. So I recommend you go take a look at that. So that's what that bottom row does. And then we've got this row here, which controls like the logic, basically controls the entire system. So first we're going to set these 5 command blocks here. We'll actually set our monster proximity to score. So first we're going to set it to 0. And then these 4 are all the same except the mob is different. So this one is going to execute from all players with a score monster proximity of 0. And then it's going to execute again from all zombies within a 16 block radius. And then it's going to execute a scoreboard command to set everyone within a 16 block radius. It sets their monster proximity to 1. So basically what we're doing is we're saying if there's a zombie within a 16 block radius, set it to 1. And that's what these are, except with different mobs here. And then we've got these 2 commands over here, which are responsible for setting our sword glow score. So this part is a little bit complicated. It's a method that I often use a lot, where you set a given score to, let's say, 1, and then you have a command block that gives them an item, and then you set it to 2 afterwards, and then that way it won't give them an item again. So here we are setting it to 1. Actually, what I should say first is sword glow is set to positive values if they have the enchanted sword, and set to negative values when we want to give them the unenchanted sword. So first we are going to set it to 1 if they are near a mob and it's already -2. So basically that means if they have the unenchanted sword and they are near a monster, we're going to set it to 1 because we want to give them the enchanted sword. And then the same is here. If they already have the enchanted sword and they're not close to a monster, we're going to set it to -1 because we want to give them the unenchanted sword. And then these ones over here have the replace item command. It basically, for everyone who has the Glamdring in slot 0 and their sword glow score is 1, it's going to replace item in slot 0, an iron sword that's unbreakable. And that ench tag here is how we get the glow. If you don't know, if you put the enchantment tag without any actual enchantments, it will have that enchanty glow, but it won't actually have any enchantments. And the name is Glamdring. And then these, like just like the other command blocks, are the exact same with each different slot and each different score. So if my score for the Glamdring slot is 7, it's going to replace item in slot 7. And then after here, we are going to set, if sword glow is 1, we're going to set it to 2. Now what that does is it makes it so these row of command blocks here only activates once because we're setting it to 1, and then these ones are going to activate, and then right after we're going to set it to 2. And then it won't do anything again until it's time to switch the sword back. I hope you are following this because it does require some knowledge of how command blocks work. But anyways, down here we have got the exact same thing except with sword glow -1, and we don't have the enchanted sword. And then here we are going to set it to -2 if it's already -1. So I hope you understood that. It is pretty complicated, but then again, it is pretty cool here. So there will be a world download in the description if you want to take a look at this, or if you want to copy it into your world, you're going to have to do that yourself. I'm not going to have any schematics or anything to set that up for you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you think this is cool. I think this is very cool. But that is all the time I have for today. So as always, a like would be much appreciated, and follow me on Twitter at NanoRexMC for more updates. But thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Rex out.